Okay, ready to do the pledge of allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Supervisor Coyer.
Here.
Councilman Barber.
Here.
Councilman Carter.
Here.
Councilman Pulaski.
Here.
Councilman Barrett.
Yes.
Welcome, welcome, welcome on this cold January day. Feels like a heat wave though compared to the last couple of days, so we're good. Let's see. Motion to accept the minutes from the January 8th, 2025 organizational meeting.
I'll go ahead and put that motion to accept the minutes from the January 25 organizational meeting.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carried. You guys have the monthly report. Of the supervisor, and that'll change next week. Mike will be back in again to finish the, helping us close out the 2024 books. So the next one you see will look a lot different, because it'll take care of any negatives on there.
Okay.
We don't have anybody scheduled to address the board. Is there any public comments?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that. Back in October, I mentioned that riprap or that fencing up to the Veterans Park was not adequate, and since then it's like no longer there. It's down on the ground. The silt is running into the lake right there. You've changed that whole dynamic of the water that runs off from that park into the lake. I have pictures of it showing it all how shortly after it was all done, that the water was brown from the silt running into that little stream that goes in there. And it actually got heavy enough that it washed sand away in that area, turned it, and created a couple other spots where water's coming in now. And, you know, that itself is a problem, but there's no wrap up. There's nothing to hold anything back.
Okay,
It's all on the ground.
all right, we'll take a look at that. Thank you.
When did you notice that, Frank?
December is when I noticed that it's completely on the ground. October, I believe I took the pictures. I got all the pictures of it, where that is running right into the lake, and it's gonna happen this spring, and you're gonna change that whole bay. If you let silt run into that bay, you're gonna do more harm to that bay than they did in the last 100 years there. You know what I mean? By letting all that dirt get in there, you're gonna promote plant growth, which in turn of invasive species and all that stuff. You know, something needs to be done with that, you know, it's not right.
Okay.
Yep.
If you get a chance, can you forward those pictures to us?
Yeah, and just
That'd be
give me
great.
a number or something to, after the meeting, if you want, I'll throw them to you and I'll forward them to you. I got 20 of them right now. I don't know if I go back farther for the original ones, but I got 20 of them in an album that show that.
We had tacked down, when you first mentioned it back then, we had tacked it down some more, but,
Yeah, but it's like non-existent now. It's like all, I believe it's there, but it's like all right to the ground, you know?
I mean, nothing should be flowing right now, because it's,
Oh, that spring runs 365, 24/7. That never
Right.
stops, never has, never will. It runs all the time. There's always an open spot there in that corner of the lake. Never freezes.
okay. No,
Thanks for that.
we'll address it, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, motions. We got the rest of December's to go through. I'll read those into the minutes. So this is the remainder of December's. We got general fund, 23,789.69. Part B, part-town, 450. Highway fund, 9,368.01. Line Mountain Light District, 852.71. Line Mountain Sewer District, 5,820.27. Line Mountain Water District, 2,832.29. Danmore Water District, $900. Ledgers Water District, $981.14. Trusted Agency, $1,591.14 for a total of $46,585.25. If I could get a motion to approve the December,
I'll make a motion to approve December 2024 bills for the amount of $46,585.25.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call, Jim?
Yes.
Joe? Jason?
Yes. Yep.
Joey?
Yep.
Deb?
yes. Motion to approve the January 2025 bills. General fund, 26,499.03. Part-town, 3,994. Highway fund, 83,941.88. Highway, town hall, highway garage, capital fund, 1,911.09. Line Mount sewer, 20,603.17. Denmore sewer, 7,500. Line Mount water district, 1,847.50. Denmore water district, 134.59. Ledgers water district, $92.30. Trusted agency, 4,473.92. For a total of 150,997.48. Just to point out, a lot of these numbers seem high, but this is the time of year where we pay workman's comp and insurances and all of that. So, so again, the total was 150,997.48.
All right, make a motion to pay the January 2025 bills as written for $150,997.48. Second that.
Any more discussion? Roll call, Jim?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Joey?
Yep.
Deb?
Yes. Okay, motion to approve the 2025 undertaking. It's the same one that we do every year. Becky will have everybody sign it. And that basically just, anybody who touches money, has anything to do with the money, signs the undertaking. So I need to approve to do a 2025 undertaking.
I'm gonna make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the 2025 undertaking.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, next one, motion to approve the installation of the GPS units on the new tandem and the Maverick. I talked to, we've got the units, we're just waiting for the Maverick to get delivered, and then that way, they can do them both at the same time. And, just need your approval to get that done.
I make the motion to approve the install of GPS units in both units, including the tandem and the yet to be delivered Maverick.
I did talk to him today, and he expects it to be released within a week.
Okay, good.
Second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, and then,
Maverick is for what purpose? I
We-
think it's the Ford Maverick, right? Not the
Yep.
Can-Am Maverick?
Right.
yeah, it's just the Ford Maverick. So the old truck that used to be the one that we'd use for mowing and all that stuff, and for us to travel if we had meetings, the highway guys wanted the old truck, and it made sense to give them that because if they have to run someplace and Mark's not here, and they have to take a tandem to go pick up parts, doesn't make sense. So they've got the old green Ford 150, and we ordered this little Ford Maverick to be used for everything else. Got a towing package, and
General
So-
transportation.
No state contract.
and then eventually, that way we can keep passing things down. Okay, motion, the next motion is to approve AES to solicit the bids for the Lion Mountain wastewater treatment plant project, finally.
Finally.
So the bid, we've got a copy of the resolution, and basically it just says that the town's allowing AES to put the project out to bid. They'll be putting it out to bid shortly. There is a meeting on, well, I'll talk about that later. So the resolution is to authorize AES Northeast to solicit the public bids for the wastewater treatment system upgrades.
I'll make a motion to approve the AES solicit bids for the Line Mountain Water Treatment Plant project.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Old business. So the dam repair obviously is on hold until spring. I talked with Denny and talked to the Seaway, and it just makes sense to not order that part until we're ready to do the installation on it, because we don't want it to get damaged in the meantime. And, we're talking about a 20-foot long piece of metal, so. Right, and FEMA's still reviewing our mitigation plan, so I know they've had other things on their plate, so I can't fault them too much with all the natural disasters that have been happening. But I just poked them last week, and they get kind of touchy. We're still looking at it. We'll let you know when we're done.
That's
Okay?
been in for a long time though, even when the disaster has happened, so.
Yeah,
And this is minute pennies to what you're dealing with right now.
I know. I fully understand now why people, even if they have damage, they don't go through FEMA. They fix it themselves, because, if we were all getting paid by the hour, the amount of time and effort that has gone into putting paperwork and phone calls and Zoom meetings and in-person meetings in the last year and a half has just been astronomical. But there's not a whole lot we can do. So, other than keep poking them and keep getting nasty grams back from them telling me to leave them alone, so. EMS update. Is there an update?
Still waiting for a meeting.
Still.
Nobody set a meeting date, so.
Okay,
I'll be in.
yeah,
Okay.
he's gone, so he'll be back next week, so.
Finally gathered from Chris, he's the one kind of running things on, everybody's got kind of a role, but he's the one with the paramedic status, and he's kind of taken over a lot of the role. They're supposed to be getting bunks for Line Mountain, they're gonna start staying up there 2 nights a week. We're supposed to start this month, but I mean, he gave me some paperwork the other day and kind of took off because they had a call.
Mhm.
So they didn't explain it to me yet, but that was the last update I got so far. But
Okay.
everybody's been, that I've talked to, if they need an ambulance, we went up to residents the other day to help her out, and she was very pleased. They're there pretty quick, but still, it'd be nice to start
Yeah.
splitting it a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any complaints about response time, because especially when you look at response times, even in our surrounding towns, the response times are lower than, they take a lot longer to get to places than our guys do.
I know the weather and stuff. My biggest gripe right now is getting them up there and using our ambulance, because it hasn't been on the call.
Yeah, they need to.
They got it up to date and everything, they weren't doing a rig check and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
they need to start using it, but it doesn't fit in Dan Moore Station, so we can't swap them, because we were gonna do that. But when they come up here, they'll be using
Yeah.
our rig, so,
Because of the cube size?
yeah, ours is a little bit taller.
No kidding.
Well, and that Denimore station is so small.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
Do they even keep the ambulance in the Dannemore station
for the
anymore?
winter, yeah. They don't have anywhere to store it.
I thought they had threw them out of there.
No, I don't,
Yes and no,
it's a
yeah.
fine line, they don't want them there, but they ain't got a choice, because they're village owned.
You gotta keep it inside.
The village board says it's going there, they don't really have much of a choice.
Now, in the contract, did we pay for both ambulance services? One in Dannemore and one in Line Mountain?
We have
To be manned?
one.
No, we only have one crew.
We have
We
one.
only- They don't, I
You only
take
pay
it
for
back.
one crew?
I take it back, they only have one crew, so we contract with them, and that's what I'm working on right now, is they're gonna start staying in Line Mountain a couple nights a week. So they'll go up there for 2 nights a week and run out at Line Mountain, for the whole, right around the clock, and then go back to the day in the morning. If the staff had it their way, they'd be up there all the time, because they like it up there. Obviously, it's a newer station, they got a shower room, full kitchen, nobody bothers them,
Right, yeah.
more than what they got.
Well,
with
it
the-
cuts your response time down for the most part. If you've gotta go from there to here, then back, you know what I mean? we could, I mean.
Then we're nicer to them.
The plan in the future was to, if this worked out and it's gonna stay, was try to maybe designate an EMS building like in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
And that way they go out and go either way, you know. It's a year and a half into it, well, not really quite a half year, but they've had some hiccups on their end of it with, you know, management and stuff. So it is what it is, but they're responding and everybody's getting the care they need, that's the main goal.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, Jason. Comprehensive plan update?
I'll let Mike and Frank give an update on that plan.
So we met with, is it JM? JM?
Jackie, yeah, no, MJ,
MJ, backwards.
MJ Engineering.
Out of kinda, not quite in Albany, Saratoga area. Gave us a whole different outlook on this compared to AES, who I can't believe is that far off, but discrepancies are large. AES said approximately 10,000 upfront from us prior to the grant process. This company's saying, depending on what they do, probably 30 to 50,000 upfront, which I don't know how much beyond that. So what is there to do after that? They don't start writing the grant until it's approved, until the grant is approved, which would be November. Deadline in May, here by November. But in order to get the grant in, you still have to have a bunch of legwork prior, like February through the end of April, to get the ball rolling. The money and AES also told us that the grant money was refundable back to the town. She's saying not everything from that grant date forward is only what's paid. So, I don't know, Joe and her were supposed to have a chat, I don't know if that happened.
Yeah.
But I have a question for her as to, okay, so if all this is all put into steps prior to them, obviously the grant is not written. And they're saying one of the grants is minimum $75,000 with a 10% match. The other one is a no match, up to $125,000. So if we're putting in, I'm gonna just say 40,000 because it's in the middle, and then they're gonna take another 80,000. I don't know, the other townships don't correlate with those numbers to me either. But I'm just a little confused on what the process is right now. She seems to know her stuff. We agreed at the meeting that if we go, we're gonna go with them. There are two, so she's the project manager, but she would have two people working for her. And obviously the more work they do, the more we pay. So she was gonna come back with 3 different stages and have step A or step 1 be X number of dollars, step 2, more work, X number of dollars, step 3, more work, top dollar.
Yeah, the other thing she said that she would give us some inside pointers on stuff we could do ourselves to save us money. So I had a chat with her this week, and she's still getting stuff together. But I'll let Frank have his time too.
She did point out that it's a long process, and it takes input from the whole town to get this thing rolling. We figured that out, that we're gonna, need to draw from other resources, other people, and the APA, what can we do, what can't we do to make rules on. It's a lot more in depth than I think anybody originally thought, so anybody thinking that was gonna be in a hurry, it's not.
The other thing that actually helped us make our decision toward engineering is that they have that interlock with small towns like us, Chesterfield, Warrensburg. She's very in-depth knowledge on APA, knows basically how they step and how they don't step. And she's able to tell us, you don't gonna go here, but you wanna probably go here. So she came across very down to earth, no force. Hey, you gotta go with us because we're the best thing since sliced bread. You didn't hear any of that. And just compared to her having 20 years as a project engineer in that field and having 2 people work for her, compared to the EES guy that had 4 years under his belt, who kept us like on this high road, And when Mike and I left, like, we're just like saying, holy shit, I'm even more confused now than I was at the very beginning. And
Exactly.
when she left, I had a general good understanding of what was going on.
Yes, yeah.
So overall, I think, if you look at the entire committee, you got Sue Baker, and you got, Mary Johnson, you got, Larry Pettis, you got, what's the guy on that mountain? I keep,
Matt Furman.
Matt Furman, and then, the one that didn't show up, Shelby.
Whoever last time.
They all felt the same way, that if the stars align, we really need to go with MG Engineering, because they seem to know what they're doing when it comes to small town comprehensive plans. And, you know, one of the things they definitely said is that, you know, we need to get our ducks in a row as a committee. But then, for me, I think we really need to start pulsing our community members, and just, I'm not saying that community and say, hey, you got to do this, this, and this. We said, listen, all you want is your ideas. We'll flip chart the ideas, we'll put them all down. It's not to throw spears at anybody we're trying to do. It's not to say bullshit on zoning. Listen, put that to the side. Just give us what you think will work. We're just looking for input. So we're gonna start having those pulse, I call them pulse meetings, with our community members to say, listen, this is what's going on, so you're not blindsided, you're not thinking we're doing something behind your backs, but we do need your input. So,
Well,
They
and
said that they would help with, you know, like doing surveys and different things, you know, like that, to get the feel of the community of, you know, what other people are thinking, what they want, you know, what the vision is for, you know, that end of the town, this end of the town, you know. So it's kind of more of a well-rounded project, you know, that fits the whole town.
yeah.
And, you know, and I think it's important to get the idea across that a comprehensive plan doesn't necessarily lead to zoning. It just gives us the foundation that if we want to make a law that says you can't, you know, put a
XYZ.
33-acre parking lot and put RVs on it, then this gives us the bite behind, you know, what we're saying, so that it gives us a foundation. And that's, you know, that's the important thing, is so that the town is able to say how the land's being used, and not somebody coming in deciding that they're gonna do something.
So we're supposed to connect again this week, with some of the stuff that Mike and I actually walked away saying, like, well, how can AES be over here with the grant, stipulations, and MG Engineering over here with what they're saying what the grant stipulations are? So we really need to get that mud out of the pond
Right,
and
yeah.
get it cleared on what's the
Yeah,
next step.
money wise, I mean, I don't know how much as a board that we wanna put out of pocket before the grant money comes in. They're not real clear yet. The money is real confusing as to what's going on with that.
Are you meeting with her again, or are we meeting as a group?
So we're gonna meet with a telephone conversation to get some of the questions that we had cleared up.
Yeah,
And then, I wanna schedule a meeting next week with us again.
okay.
So Billy, I'll get with you, and we'll look at the calendar, and we'll put another meeting together for another meeting for us.
Mhm.
And then I'll be able to bring in more information that came from Jackie, so we can decide, okay, are we ready for a pulse meeting or not? So,
One thing, do we as a town have a Facebook page?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that she wanted to do, she, of course, they're a lot more modern than the town of Dannemora. Everything she wants to do, she wants input, everything's going online. Well, a lot of the younger people in town are probably online, but I don't know about everybody in town being online to
You'd
grab
have to
that.
figure out a way to force it to a news feed so that it shows up on your
So
your
people
scroll, you know?
see it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't know how many people check the town webpage, but that's something we gotta iron out too, is how to get across for some ideas.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, the population of the town of Dannemora is, we're a pretty senior bunch.
Her,
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
her timeframe for this, she said, was 20 months to 2 years.
Mhm.
yeah. The other thing too was interesting, and, I don't remember who broached the question to her, I don't know if it was me or Mike or somebody else on the line, but AES kind of, I wouldn't say they forced us to kind of get in talks with the village, but they kind of said it'd be probably your best interest to bring the village in. And she's saying, whoa, hang on, village is a municipality, they have their own issues they're dealing with. Let's focus on what's best for the town first, and maybe they may say, hey, wow, you're doing some great stuff there, maybe we can partner in some areas, so we
Yeah,
kind of
well-
thought that was,
Well, even the AOT lawyer that I had originally got all the comprehensive plan information from, Katie, she said, no, keep the village out of it because, and Butch actually called me about what their zoning board is, and they had used a professor at the college when they did their zoning.
Lamb.
And he said it was very, he says it's very, very, very limited what they zone. It's only like building size, lots, it's very small. It has, it's not anything like what
No.
y'all are doing, so it's.
So I stopped to the village and checked that out, I was gonna get a copy, Shauna's not there, so they weren't handing anything out. They
You might see it
listened,
on their sign when you pull into the village on either side, it says
they
building, zoning
listened,
codes.
I did find out, so they have a comprehensive board who basically just really oversees the code enforcement officer. And then if you don't, and that is run by Jim Peterson, he is the chairman of that. So if you don't like their decision and you appeal it, then they have what they call a zoning board appeal, but they call their laws comprehensive, but when it goes to the next step, it becomes a zoning board appeal.
Confusing.
They as I'm finding out, those two don't go together, zoning and comprehensive are two different.
Correct.
And they kind of, one following the other there, maybe they just misnamed it. Anyways, I didn't get a copy, and the three girls that were in the office were all just like, But Danamore doesn't always play well with everybody,
They certainly don't.
So that's the update.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Fire control system update. So, we had something go wonky with our fire control, our pump and system out in the building earlier this month. And we've been working on it since. We're not happy with our current fire control company that we use, and I'm taking the steps to get rid of them and get a different company, because they basically, well, they talk out of both sides of their mouth, really. When we had the lines flushed this fall, we're like, well, we don't see any reason why you need to flush them. Well, if you don't let us do this, we're gonna call your insurance company and tell them that you don't have an appropriate fire system. But yet, when they came out here earlier this month, and they couldn't fix something out there, they had no problem just walking away and not saying, where was your threat for the insurance company then? So anyway, I won't go into too much detail with that, but, then Bob's Instant Plumbing, who they have a couple different companies, was very impressed with them, talked with Jeff Evans, who is the president of their fire control part of it. Talked with him yesterday, was out there, showed him, what the problems were and whatnot. He had his crew here today. They refixed all the fittings that Johnson Control had soldered. They took all those out, put in a proper fixes. They disassembled, made sure there was nothing wrong with the main lines. And our biggest concern was the fire pump. Everything's fine with the fire pump. Right now, I ordered, it needs what is it? Transmitter. And the box that it comes in, the block that it screws into. And so, and these guys are like, you want us to order it, or do you want to order it? And I said, well, what's the difference? And they said, well, if you order it, it's cheaper. If we order it, we add, a percentage. So I said, I'll order it, give me the phone number, give me all that. And so, these guys I think are pretty good. It's the ones that you, and I talked to Randy.
Randy Mello.
Yeah, I talked to him at length today, and he had some choice words for JCI as well.
So we had the same issue that Nova Bus with Johnson Controls. Number one, expertise in application of services, and their ability to overcharge and wait to certain timed windows to get more money out of Nova Buff. For instance, I'll give you an example, they could have fixed something on a Friday. They waited till Saturday and charged double time for their techs, and then on a Saturday to fix it.
Yeah.
So, Nova Bus got rid of, Johnson Controls, and I know that feud there personally. And then Debbie called and said, hey, can you give me a contact for Nova Bus? Not a problem at all.
Yeah.
And Randy called Debbie today and give her the full insight of what to do next.
Yeah, and the problems that they had which caused them to go with a different company are the same problems we're having with them.
Very impressive.
They're just a very unprofessional group that, and the technicians are,
Left a mess
very
last time they were
unprofessional.
here. I said they left a mess last time they were here.
yeah, it's just,
But it's operational now.
oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's operational. Our main fire pump isn't on, but our jockey pump is. So it's operational.
Is that the same spot where they fill the water for tankers? Is that the same pump system?
Yeah.
The whole
Mhm.
9 yards there?
Yeah. So we have some improvements to do in the building itself, because we just have one propane heater in there. We're gonna look at, Jeff's gonna give me a price on another heater, an electric heater. And Jason and I were in there today, and he had a good idea that we'll mount it up on the wall next to the main fire pump. That way, if the propane goes out, we still got heat going onto that fire pump.
There's a design flaw too we picked up on, right? The main pump, wasn't that, they had it controlling the wrong side of the main pump?
Yeah.
Main, right?
Yeah, well, and it's funny because, you know, yesterday when Jeff was in there with us, he's like, you know what? He goes, we bid on this system when this building was being built. And he said, he goes, you went with the lowest bid, and I said, yeah. I said, we don't do that anymore. We go with best value, and we changed that. But yeah, there's some issues, and they've corrected a lot of them today, and so I'm happy with what they've done. And we called them, and they were here like same day. I mean, they came immediately, and then they came. You know, he said, my guys will be here tomorrow morning, and they were here, and they worked all day, so.
And we need to update about our legal obligations. Contract, we can,
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting to hear from Matt,
okay.
I wanna make sure that if we cancel that contract with, JCI, that, you know, they're not gonna say, well, you canceled the contract, you owe us, la-di-da-da-da. So, as soon as I get the okay from Matt, then, I'll do up a letter, in form giving, JCI 30 days notice.
Well, they wouldn't even enter the building that night. We
Yeah.
wouldn't have shut the power and water
Yeah,
off.
they work on
Yeah.
the sprinkler systems, but they don't.
Yeah, so we can't work in water. It's like,
You gotta be dry.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
that's
it's a
the
fire
exact words,
system.
it has to be dry. We don't work
High,
on,
high voltage.
we don't work on
like.
on wet floors.
Like, hold on a minute, I'll go ahead and shut
It's
it
like-
off for you.
it's
Now
like-
work in the dark. That's what I told him, I walked away.
yeah, it was, I mean, it was just it was a show. It was a
joke.
cluster, let me tell you what.
It was a joke.
So-
3 days.
Anyway.
Okay.
It's looking up, so. Does anyone else have any old business? Okay. New business. Closing the books, 2024, say Tuesday, Mike will be here. We'll get those buttoned up, so we can move forward on that. That's going pretty well. He was pretty happy. Said another half a day, and we'll be good. Unpaid invoice, so I put that, Ellenberg purchased, you know, they bought sand from us for the roads. We invoiced them in October, we still haven't been paid. I've reached out to Jason DeZan a couple times, emailed him, and then I sent him a letter. Got no response from him. So talked to Matt, and he said, send another letter, CC me and their attorney on the letter. And he says if that doesn't get you paid within a couple of weeks, then he says he'll take over and do what he's got to do.
This letter this was the last one here on January 16th.
This is the one yeah.
So they should have gotten it by now.
Yeah.
Cut them off for next year.
Well, they owe us almost $70,000,
I'll pay up front,
so.
Cut them off.
and they got the money, they got all the windmills.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're not hard for money.
Yeah.
Yeah, pay
Well, they
up
have
front
to
or
take that
don't
and
get
pay for their
nothing.
new EMS contract.
All right. So that's that, just thought. So I had a Teams meeting with DEC. The primary reason is because our agreement with them concerning the boat launch is up this year. And they wanted to know if we were going to renew the contract, and we're like, well, yeah, because we don't want to run the boat launch. So we talked about different things that was required. They have a list of things that they've been told by, like Chris Powers, that what needed to be done there. So they're gonna come out in the spring, like they do every year. They said that they knew there was a privacy fence needs to be fixed. And I said, the main things that need to be fixed is the dock. We need an extension on the dock. And, something, not to extend that concrete, because that would take an awful lot of, I mentioned extending the concrete, and they're like, that's a much bigger project than they could handle. But filling in where, at the end of the concrete, doing something about keeping it so that there's not that big drop off. And I said, plus we're gonna have to look at rocks again, because as you know, the ice is gonna move some of those rocks around, and it might move them back where they were to start with, the ones that they moved before, so. But I talked to Rob Fioratino, and I don't know why everyone at DEC has hard names, Jim Pinero, the two of them, I was on this meeting with, and they'll be coming out. And they also will talk to me about fish surveys and when they're gonna do some stocking.
It's difficult, I'll tell you, I only have a 20-foot boat. It's an open bow. When the wind's blowing, you do people get that boat on a trailer.
Trailer pontoon boat.
Holy smokes.
They wanna have some people there.
And what helped is I put the trailer guards on the end. Once I get that nose in, I'm good, but I'll tell you what, that is a tough place to load a boat.
Yeah, the winds usually come from the west, so it's always pushing on there. Ideally, a breakwater, what I mean, but that's probably never gonna happen there, but another
Yeah.
dock extension so people.
Would help.
Would help, so you can, throw a rope to people quicker, so you get your boat where it belongs, because the alternative to that is rocks,
Yeah, because if the boat swings this way, you
Yeah.
got them big boulders right there on the left.
I mean, it's rocks,
Yeah, so, I mean, and I told him, I said, if, I know funding is an issue with DEC, because especially now, who knows what kind of funding DEC is gonna get, this year, so, but, I mean, we can help pay for the dock extension if we need to, but that's something that really needs to happen this year, so,
I agree.
Well, plus it'd be nice to fix that. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's still, that busted tie-down. It's only half there.
The hook you tie to,
Mhm.
only half of it there.
Yeah.
It's kind of a safety thing too, you stub your toe on it or whatever. it's
Well,
broken
rubber
off.
bump around the place, yeah, too.
yeah, so, they're gonna come out. We had a pretty good conversation, and they are very interested in maintaining that boat launch there, and, still being part of it. DEC, they're all about, water quality and whatnot, so, when they come out in the spring, I'll let everybody know well ahead of time, and, that way if people have questions they wanna us to post to them, then, we can do that. But that was pretty good, they agree with everything that I told them needed to be done, and then they had a few things themselves, so.
Good.
That was that. You guys have that quote, we talked about the SCADA system for the water water district up in Line Mountain. And so for the whole thing, costs out to $25,100. And that's for the actual system that will read everything, you know, if there's a problem with the chlorine, if there's a low flow, all of that stuff. That system will do that, plus the monitoring system that will call if something goes wrong up there, if something goes offline or whatnot. It'll place a call to the water operators.
When you get a leak somewhere,
Yeah,
it's gonna
it'll,
alert you, so I think it's
yeah,
very
and,
cool.
and like we said, Patrick's
Definitely.
not gonna be there forever, and he knows that system, he knows it well. Depending on who replaces him, they might not be as mechanically inclined as him, or being able to figure out how to fix this or that, and this is, you know, moving us into this century.
Good idea.
I mean, you know, and he's not saying he's going anywhere, but, you know, he's pointing out that the next person might not be as willing to get as dirty as he does to do work, so. Anyway, that's if I can get a motion to approve ordering this system. It's gonna take a little while, so, we won't be, paying for it for the next couple of months, but the bill won't come for the next couple of months, but, we'll get it on order. I think, he said there's about I think somewhere it says there's about an 8-week
Lag time.
lag time between ordering and getting it, installed.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to move forward with the SCADA approval purchase, the amount of $25,100.
I'll
Second.
That's what a $588 yearly service for that too.
Yes, yeah. That's for the phone service,
So is that part of the 25, or is that we gotta make it?
well, that's part of this first 25, but then we'll have an annual cost,
Annual check.
Okay,
and that's for the communication system.
but the motion will cover all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Roll call, Jim,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Joey.
Yep.
Deb.
Yes. Okay. Any other new business? Okay. Committee reports, let's see what I have here. I've got an agreement, the agreement for mutual, aid service, shared service, not mutual aid, shared service between, New York State DOT and us. We sign this every couple of years, every 2 or 3 years. It's due, so, I need to get, I have to sign it, Mark has to sign it, and basically it's, you know, it's shared service. If they need us, they call us. If we need them, we call them. And it's for emergencies, not for like, hey, we need to pave this road, come and help. This is all based on emergencies. So, we get that done. Compliance. They'll be, that's our workman's comp folks, that you saw that, those are in the bills. They will be coming out February 27th to do their inspection of how everything is. I've already told the highway guys that, you know, you can't have stuff dragging on the floor, you've gotta have, you know, they know what they look for because they were just here this summer.
And they can be picky.
Get your shit together, basically. Verizon, just to let you know as well, Verizon has sold, they've entered into agreement with Vertical Bridge, that Vertical Bridge exclusively leases, operates, and manages over 200 of their sites in New York. They manage over 6,000 of their wireless communication towers across all the states. but we won't see a difference, except our check will come from Vertical Bridge instead of Verizon from now on, but it makes no changes, but just so you know, they've leased their tower to Vertical Bridge. We had a discussion, in the past about, the park style campers that are set up and people are using them as permanent structures, but because it's a camper, we can't really tax them as such. And, so that's been a discussion among, the different towns that have issues like that. And, the assessor, who is a state level assessor in Warrensburg, they have passed a town resolution / zoning law, which we can't do that, but saying that to require the property owners that have those types of things, that they have to have an annual permit that would be similar to what they would pay if they were being taxed for that. So it's, it's for those people that are getting away with having basically a permanent structure but not being taxed for it because it's a camper,
Year round,
that to issue them permits.
right, be a year-round thing.
An annual permit allowing them to have it parked there because, the definition is it's supposed to be immobile. If you have a camper, it's supposed to be able to be moved off and, and in most people's minds, if you've built a deck on the front of it and you've got a addition built on the back of it, it's really not movable, without tearing apart everything, so.
You know, there's ways into where's their septic going, where they pulling water, you know what I mean? Because technically, we can drag it away, bring it to
Yeah.
a site, but if we're not moving this thing, what's happening?
Yeah, well, and even if you put if they have a septic and a well, and they pull something up that's not really mobile, they can do that right now, and basically they're taxed as vacant with improvements. So they're taxed because they have a well and a septic, but not a structure, so that's something to think about down the road, but there is a lot of attention being placed on that kind of thing, because it's just, it's happening everywhere, especially in the Adirondacks, like for us, because it's where people want to be. So, just something to